Happy hump day, you beautiful badass. Welcome to the Keri Croft Show. I'm your host, Keri Croft, bringing you the coolest stories to give your week that little extra something. And remember, the cream always rises to the top, so shake off the haters and be the cream, baby. We all know the age-old joke, why did the chicken cross the road? Well, in this day and age, cool chicks cross the road to make their way to Zen Hen, a groovy little boutique in downtown Pal, Ohio. Located at 37 South Liberty Street, Zen Hen offers curated apparel, accessories, and gifts from purpose-driven brands. Stop in and listen to Tara's story and the stories of the brands sold within the shop. Ask her why a hen is Zen, and receive four-legged greetings from Wally, the small and mighty shop dog. At Zen Hen, your purchase has a bigger purpose. Mention the awesomeness that is the Keri Croft Show and receive 20% off your total purchase. Ready to elevate your self-care game? Boss Gal Beauty Bar is a modern med spa offering everything from cosmetic injectables, lasers and microneedling, to medical-grade facials and skincare. Conveniently located in Clintonville, Grandview, Powell, and Easton, making self-care a priority has never been easier. Use code CROFT for $25 off your first visit. Varsey Laurelle, welcome to the Keri Croft Show.
Thank you.
I mean, let's just take a minute for you. I just need a moment for this.
Yes.
You are looking
love
good. Your
this.
vibe is good. The energy is, it's good.
Thank you. Thank you. It's intentional.
You know what? I can feel some intentional, like
Yeah.
so the energy I'm feeling is like a confident, positive, but real. Like I can tell, like I would want you on my team. You know what I'm saying? I would want you.
I agree with that.
If we're in West Side Story, I'm calling you. Okay,
and I got you.
And I feel like you would.
Yeah, fiercely loyal.
Yeah,
but don't
right.
Don't cross it.
You know that quote, be humble but let motherfuckers know.
For sure. That's me.
You know,
all day.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
let's set the table here for
Yes,
the guest
please.
who is listening and is like, okay, Keri, you're gonna tee this up, or are you gonna tell us who this amazing creature is? This woman that is
jump
like
right
a
in.
10. Okay, so I did an event at the Chamber. They were kind enough to invite me, and actually brave enough to invite me to speak in front of a crowd, which is, you know, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you from my point of view, and then you can tell me from your point of view.
Ooh, okay.
So
like this.
I'm on the stage on this panel, and there were quite a few people there. I was actually impressed by the turnout for the.
Yeah.
I was like,
It was
nobody's
good
coming
size.
at like 7:30 in the morning.
No.
Probably like 100 people, maybe.
Yep.
And so as I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of making eye contact with the audience, over to my right, I see this beautiful queen, and I'm like, who is that? She is beautiful. But then I was like, her energy, like that's somebody I would hang with this person. Like I wanted to know more. So in a sea of women, my energy was like, it was like this conduit that just went right to you. And so I knew, I'm like, you know what? When I get off this stage, I'm gonna make sure that I introduce myself. I want to know more about this person. So that was my point of view. That's how
I love that.
we met in my eyes.
Yes, I love that. Similar. So when I think back, I have always been attracted to an energy that like disrupts my bias. And you were just on that stage giving yoga mom, okay? Spicy yoga mom though. Like not a basic latte top bun mom.
You're right.
And so I was like, tell me more. Like you said, intrigued. Like I am such a curious person. And so I was just like I can be a little bit creepy because I'm like in awe. And then you started whipping out the hip hop link. I said, oh, okay. You know what? Me and her. And didn't I pounce? I pounced.
I pounced too. I think we headbutted because we were pouncing. It was like a simultaneous pounce. I had you with Lil Wayne's like confidence is a stain they can't wipe off.
Yeah, you had me before that, but you locked me in.
That was what it was like, the knockout punch.
Yes.
But you know what? I will say that is one of my favorite, and I know it happens to come from a hip hop song, but so many of my the real shit comes from the way that these hip hop artists genius can take these flows and rhythms and rhymes and make something that is so catchy, but yet the meaning.
Yeah.
And Lil Wayne, man, don't get me started on him,
Lyricist.
because I love me some Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
And when he says confidence is a stain they can't wipe off, I'm like, you got it.
Yes.
You know it.
Yes. And
So
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's so great. So our energies were just like destined to meet.
100%. Because I feel like that's what we are, right? Like we're spiritual beings encapsulated in this body.
Yeah.
That's very restrictive, right? So like the bias of your body could have restricted our energy.
Yeah.
But the energy is bigger than the body. So you meet the person really before you meet the person.
I could not agree more.
Yeah.
Your energy walks in to the room way before you do.
100%.
Give me a little. We're already on it. Okay,
love this.
So you were at the chamber because you are a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. You're out there making it happen.
Yeah.
So your company or Varsey, it's your name, right?
Yeah,
So
Varsey Laurelle Consulting.
you can like go online and it's varseylorelle.com.
Yeah.
So you work with companies on culture, just on this stuff, energy, how to be people centered, right?
Yeah.
How'd you get started in that?
Oh, man. Ooh. So my last corporate job was probably one of my favorites. And so I loved working with people. So I did training and development there. And so I was really in charge of the first face people saw, whether they were, any part of the business they were in. And I loved connecting with people. I loved seeing those aha moments when I'm teaching and coaching someone, or seeing someone really not having the confidence and giving them the confidence, kind of showing them who they are before they could see it. And I loved seeing the growth and evolution of someone that I trained, and then now they're a leader, right? And so that really fueled me and got me up in the morning. And so I kind of grew with that organization and ended up really running the learning and training and development program. And around COVID time, I had a personal shift in more intention in who I am and showing up as a Black woman in leadership, and really kind of owning that more and being like, what are you doing with this position? And as I did that for myself and challenged myself, I also challenged my organization, who wins all these awards for best company to work for. And they were a great company. But for me, when I called them higher, they weren't able to answer that call. And so it just was no longer a fit. I had an image of how I wanted to show up. I had an image of if someone comes and tells me, hey, I'm being wronged, or I feel like there's something happening here, I wanted to have the autonomy to do something with that. And put in my 30-day notice and started my own consulting firm. And it's been 3 years now, off and running. And all the times from undergrad graduation to 3 years prior, I thought I was kind of just bopping around. I didn't feel like I had like a synergy in what I was doing. But I look back and I'm like, I needed every single job, every single thing, every single experience to get me here.
Yeah, now you have your purpose.
Yeah, and now I have my purpose. So what I really like to do is a few different things. At the end of the day, it's really my vision to support people and help in creating a more human-centered world, right? And most of us in America have to work 40 hours a week, so we spend a lot of our time in organizations. And so how can I support the organization in really respecting, honoring, creating a sense of trust and belonging with individuals in their organization, so those people can find their purpose, right, and express their why, but then also so the organization can reach whatever goals they have as well. So
where'd you get your confidence?
This was not always there. This is a newfound characteristic. And if I could sum it up, it would really be doing hard shit, doing something that I was absolutely terrified of doing, and just pushing through and having hope at the end of it.
Yeah, I bet starting this was a real, because once you jump off, the scariest thing in the world is to jump. But then when you notice that you're flying, then it's like you start puffing your chest. You're like, I'm flying. I did that. Because a lot of people will never jump.
Yes. Oh, listen, I can't believe you just said that.
They won't.
So I have a bucket list in my notes on my phone. For decades, in my bucket list was to skydive, to jump out of a plane. So for my 40th birthday, it's June 2021, and I have my parents watch the kids, and I take a flight to Houston, drive about 2 hours north, and I ended up just randomly jumping out of a plane. Didn't plan on going there to do that, and literally the whole 10,000 feet up, the guy's talking to me, and he's like, "You're gonna have to just jump. When you get out on that wing, everything's gonna be telling you to get back inside because it's your body protecting yourself, and you just have to jump."
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I mean, I could tattoo it on my forehead. I could go Amber Rose with that, because like it is something that I always remember, that everything I want is on the other side. I have to jump.
Yeah.
I got to do my part.
Yeah.
Let God do the rest.
So you also have an interesting perspective in that you're the first American-born citizen in your family, and your mom is from the Bahamas.
Yeah.
So how does that sort of shape, your interactions and sort of who you are?
Oh my gosh, it is 100% the foundation of who I am.
Yeah.
So more to that is just very small, impoverished island in general, right? And so my grandma has 7 kids. My mom is the oldest daughter, so oldest daughter energy. Caribbean culture is to very much say the oldest sets the tone for the success of all the other kids that come before them. It's a lot of pressure, right? And my mom felt that pressure. And so how she got herself out of that situation was pageantry. And so she started pageants, and she won Miss Bahamas, which got her a full ride scholarship to Bethune-Cookman, historically Black college and university in Daytona Beach. And she majored as a chemist. And so from right there, it was like hard things, jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly thereafter, my grandmother still had 6 children that were under 18. And she eventually migrated to Columbus with those 6 children. Not even a high school diploma, because she had to unfortunately leave school to work. She brings it up still at 88 years old. But what she instilled in me is education. So my privilege shows up in education. She worked at the Laurels in Worthington, 3rd shift, core childhood memory, riding in the car with my aunts and uncles to take her to work. And she put me through private school. I don't know how she did it.
What school did you go to?
So I went to this very small Columbus Christian school. Like, I don't even know the official name. COCS is what we called it, on Morse and Cleveland. And so, yeah. It's just a women of jumpers. My grandma was a first woman born in her family. And so I think I'm like 6th generation, first oldest daughter. And I think there's some strength in that. There's some power behind that.
A lot of power behind that.
I feel a lot of ancestral power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have 2 kids.
Yeah.
One's 5, one's 10. They go to Wellington?
They do.
So, I mean, that's a private school right there in UA. I mean, that is like the creme de la creme, Wellington. So what's that like in there? I'm just so curious.
Yeah. You know what? I got to tell you, I have grown up being in predominantly white institutions, but like living in Linden, but like living in the hood, right? Like I've juggled that juxtaposition of those 2 worlds my whole life. And so I can ebb and flow through that easily. I can code switch. I can do what needs to be done. Always knew education still very important to me. So always knew, because of Columbus City school system, I was like, I'm not a suburb girl. So I'm like, I want to live in the city, but my kids will probably go to private school. So as I'm shopping around to the independent schools, Wellington was the first stop. And when me and my now ex-husband walked in the door, 2 Black people in a predominantly white institution, we looked at each other, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I feel like I belong here. I don't think I've ever been able to say that, Keri, in the States.
Those are big words.
Yeah. And it has consistently been that way. My daughter is in 5th grade now. She's been there since pre-K. My son just joined for kindergarten. It has consistently been that way. It's community.
You hear that, Wellington? You're out there doing something right, baby. Keep it moving.
Yeah, plug me.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, what a huge coup for a school like that
Yeah.
to have somebody say that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we should be saying. You
Yeah.
should feel like you belong.
Absolutely.
You know, are we now? It's like 2024.
Come on, this is table stakes we're talking about here, right?
Absolutely.
And so I write that check, and I write it knowing that I am investing in something that truly invests in my kids.
Yeah, and your kids are happy there.
Absolutely. Every year we check in before I sign that contract, and I check in with her and with my daughter Elle, and are we ready? Are we good? She's like, last year she said, Mom, if you took me out of Wellington, I would run away. I said, all right, well, I guess that's a yes.
Well, that's a good sign. Wellington might have to use this for their
Yeah.
2025 commercial.
But she better start a business or get like a scholarship or something.
She needs to
'cause
pay
come
you.
on.
But you're
Where's the
working on an
ROI?
ROI here. So speaking of, you said your ex-husband.
Yeah.
So you've been divorced twice.
Yes.
Okay, and it's funny. I have a guy that was just on the show, and he called himself very divorceable.
Divorceable.
I'm
That
gonna-
really does track.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's like,
Unfortunately.
listen, I'm very divorceable, and everybody in the room just started dying. It's
That's
like, aren't we
hilarious.
all
Aren't we
kind of
all, though?
divorceable? So what do you think when you look at the two
Yeah.
failed marriages where you're like, okay, is there a common were they the same type? Or do you think, what do you think if you had to like boil
if
it down?
I really had to sum it up, I would say, not to correct you on your show, but not failures.
Yeah.
Which a lot of therapy had to work me through that, because it
Yep.
definitely feels like we're doers. I'm like, you start something, you finish it, you
Yep.
go. So it definitely
Yeah.
feels like a failure, right? But then the other shift is like, it served a purpose for the season. And I had a saga with them. I always joke around with my friends, like I'm on my 10th saga right now. Like I had a life and then I didn't. And I think to sum it up, it's knowing self, right? And the fact that I didn't at those times caused me to choose people based on ideas in my head or beliefs of what someone else told me it should look like or be like. It wasn't for myself and my own knowing, because I had no fucking idea what that was even. They're amazing on their own. They're beautiful people. They just weren't for me. They couldn't fully accept me for me, even the me I was figuring out at the time. And I wasn't able to accept them for them either.
And P.S. You can always correct me on my show.
Thank you.
Lane, listen, this is a back and forth.
I
don't
appreciate
know.
you.
I'm a seeker.
I knew I could.
I'm a seeker.
I knew
I'm
I
not.
could.
Listen, I can get corrected anytime, any day of the week.
I mostly said it for them.
I know. Oh hell, I cannot. You are so good. You are so damn good. I bet you are a trip to date too.
Oh, I'm a whole problem. I'm like, I'm gonna start saying I'm divorceable because I get it. I mean, this bad girl energy comes with a lot of shit, you know?
Well, let's talk about this because you did tell me.
I did.
You told me
Yeah.
you've been in some street fights, and you said you got expelled. You got expelled from
Oh
school
my
and spent the rest of the year
God.
watching all my
I
children in
definitely
General
did.
Hospital.
I definitely did.
What'd you do to get expelled? Or
This goes back to not knowing yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to prove things to
Yeah.
others. And I think predominantly white institution, and there was only a pocket full of black kids. And so you try to belong with the black kids. But for me, I wasn't black enough for the black kids, right? Because like private school and like, you know, and then I wasn't white enough for the white kids. So I was constantly kind of a foot in both worlds trying to prove worthiness. And so I just remember very vaguely, this is a vague ass memory, but like there was this black girl I thought was super cool. She wasn't actually, but back then I thought she was. So wrong. I was actually the cool one when I think about it. So she kind of just started some fake shit like, oh yeah, this girl in gym was talking about you and, you know, you're a punk if you don't go over there and just hit her. Like, don't even say anything, just hit her. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. But I feel challenged. And now I have to like accept this challenge or like you'll think I'm a nerd and like not cool. And like I really want to be cool. And so like, yeah, I did that. So I went and just like hit this girl. Okay, she was like hysterical. It wasn't even like that, but it was. And yeah, and then first strike, and I was expelled because predominantly a white institution, I'm a black girl. So that was...
I mean, and you were like, that was smart.
So stupid.
So how long were you at home watching soaps?
man, I want to say, honestly, Keri, I think somewhere between 3 and 6 months, which is the longest gap ever. I really don't even know.
So they just expel you and then you're just supposed to sit at home? I bet your mom was not happy.
Oh, listen. So I was living with my aunt and uncle at the time, and they were pissed. Was of course like the other family did try to do a lawsuit. My uncle was like, "No, we'll just pay you out." So like every other Friday, I remember this guy, her dad, coming to my house, and my uncle, who is like from Mississippi, like insert all the things into that, was just like so pissed that he had to hand this white man $100 every other week that we did not have because of threat of a lawsuit. It was not pretty for me. And they let me off pretty easy. I mean, like, I wouldn't have let me watch TV all day.
I remember in high school, like, that's basically what you did. Like, when you get expelled,
There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. Was there even Wi-Fi? I don't think so. They're talking about 95, 96, something like that. So it's wild. But what's crazy is I ended up not going back to that school, moving with my grandma who lived in Linden, where I grew up, going to Brookhaven. All right, so Columbus City School. I had a little bit of culture shock because, again, mostly private school or suburb, right? And but let me tell you the educational piece that never left me. And I am so about education. So, okay, I get expelled. I missed 3 to 6 months, right? I'm a BC student. I just didn't try. I got to Brookhaven, the middle of junior year, and I was top 10 in the class. I was finished with school by 10 a.m. senior year, and I used to take the bus to City Center, worked at Coach, and by the time I got off work, everyone else from high school was coming to work after high school ended. And I graduated with like a 3.6 something that I couldn't even be proud about because it was just like, this doesn't have anything to do with me. This has to do with the failing public school system. And I was like, yeah, I'm not the mom that's going to be like at the table with my kids for 10 hours, like teaching them ABCs and da-da-da-da. Maybe I'll give it an hour a week. So like I need to like invest in education that like they can carry them forward.
So how many people ask you if it's really worth it to get a haircut by Mia Santiago?
Honestly, a lot. And honestly, it is.
I mean, she is a celebrity hairstylist in Columbus, Ohio. That's all you really need to know.
She doesn't miss, and now she has her own salon, Headspace. It is truly something this city has never seen.
Girl, I did one scalp treatment, and I would let Jake put his hands on my head anytime he wanted.
No, same. It's right in Upper Arlington where Mia cuts and styles, and Jake manages a full scalp spa, which is like a facial for your scalp and a massage for all of the stress and tension we hold in our head and neck.
I legit felt like I was on something after I got my first treatment, and my hair looks so much healthier now that all the buildup and dead skin are gone. I mean, I do love massages, but honestly, this might be even better. Plus, it has so many proven benefits for my hair health.
Truly believe you get what you pay for, and Mia and Jake are the dream team.
Use code Keri for 20% off your first visit with Miss Mia Santiago.
Because I want to make it clear, it doesn't mean that people don't thrive in those places and become success in like all the things, right? But like, it's a risk.
It is. It really is. I mean, it's when I was looking at just kindergartens, you know, you're like, oh God, if you go down, and I mean, we're talking UA here, right? So it's not like, I mean, you're pretty much going to be okay. But all these different lanes that you have to choose from, it's like, what door do you open? Like, where do you send your kid? What's that experience going to be? It's all like education really is, but it's not just that. It's like how social and how they're feeling and like how they're I don't know. There's a whole ball of wax there that like already stresses me out.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, right? It's the same if I think about the organizations and the work I do. You spend all this time at a place. You want to make sure they're not just focusing on one part of you. You know, in the organization, what can you produce, right? In an education setting, what can I teach you? How much can you learn in this one way that we teach you, right? But it's really just, what type of human are you going to be when you leave here and enter the world, right? Are you emotionally intelligent? Do you care about the environment? And yeah, you need to know the math and how to read and all these things.
Yeah.
Right?
So when you were younger, I feel like you had a little bit of a tumultuous childhood. So some of the hard things that happened to you would express on your intake form that you had some abuse.
Yeah.
So how do you process that and overcome that? And how do you deal with that today?
Yeah. Process and overcome it. My mom is the reason why I'm emotionally intelligent. She's probably, sorry, everyone else in my family, if you're listening, the only emotionally intelligent person in my family. She really helped me navigate that. It had happened to her. And she put me, as soon as I finally said something, she instantly put me in therapy. And that was not a thing, right? At that time, I was probably 12, 13 when I finally told the truth about what had happened when I was 5 or 6, and instantly put me in therapy. And that helped a lot. Just talking, just getting out of my head, because I analyze things, every single angle of things, I still do. And so to do that at that age with such a heavy thing was so hard. I didn't even realize it. So I'm so honored that she had the capacity and the wherewithal to think of doing that. So God didn't have really a strong relationship at that time, but my mom did. And so I think her prayers and just always having, and now it looks a lot like kind of like I said earlier, Keri, like every experience, every job, everything that I've gone through, I can truly look back and say, that actually had purpose. It was shitty as hell, but like that had purpose. Because one thing people say a lot about me is like, I'm relatable. And I think some of that relatable energy is that I've been through shit.
I guess I'm really having a moment here because the number of people who have sat in this chair that have experienced some kind of sexual trauma at a young age is mind-blowing to me. And it happens so much more than what you think. Oh, it can't happen to me. It can't happen to my child. I mean, it can.
Yes.
And like when you're 6 or 7 like that, something like that sexualizes you. It takes your innocence, and then you don't know what to do with those feelings and thoughts. And it is so traumatizing.
100%.
And the sick thing is it's people who have access to you. And I just, I mean, my kids, I think about these things and scenarios, and maybe I'm a little like, overly protective or thinking, but I constantly, your mom probably when you were 12 or 13 finally saying it, she was like, what?
Yeah.
How did that happen under my nose?
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing too, she almost was like, I thought so, but you just wouldn't say it because it had happened to her. So she kind of knew, you know what I mean? Like she probably knew something changed, something shifted. And I remember when this happened to me. So I'm going to ask, right? And we had an open relationship where we talked, but this one.
Are you very open with your kids about and very protective and just like a hawk with that kind of stuff? I mean, I can't imagine.
Oh, yeah. Without trying to ruin their innocence, right? So it's a very thin line that like sometimes I'll ask I remember I was asking my daughter questions, trying to like sneak around and like, do you ever feel like someone made you feel uncomfortable? And she's like, after a while, she's like, Mom, you're kind of making me feel uncomfortable because I don't know what you're saying. And I was like, oh, best answer ever. Like nothing's happening. One thing that pisses her off is I don't play about sleepovers. They can come over here, but I don't know them like that. So unless we are tight, thick, I have got drunk, maybe smoked something, whatever with them, we can't.
You like a little weed?
I would say love. I do actually. I'm more of an edible girl than liquor.
Yeah, so I wish that I was. I have tried I get so, if you would get in my brain, like I'll take like a little corner of a gummy and I will go ape shit.
What does that mean when you say ape shit?
My brain, like it's just the most wild scenarios. I'm like, I don't need this. My brain is already my brain on a normal day. I don't know what to compare. I don't have anyone else's brain, so I can't compare. But this thing is like a constant running wild machine. When you sprinkle in a little THC on there, it's like a freaking circus.
You know what? I feel like we might have similar brains because I think my brain is already a little bit high on just standard operating procedure, right? It's already a little like revved up than a normal brain just based on how I like observe people. And what it does for me, I'm also, again, I like think about every angle. It actually takes me down where I don't have to think, and I'm more in a flow state.
That's what I wish happened to me. Now,
I wish that
if
for
I
you.
could get that,
Yeah.
if you have the gummy that'll get me right,
I feel like I kind of want to. This is when we're going to see each other's houses. This is when we're going to
bring
do
me
this,
some
and
stuff.
we're gonna see, because you do have to find your thing,
That's right.
and then like just stick to that. Like, don't play around.
No, listen. If once I found that, I would love that.
Okay, so you're not into it yet.
I
'Cause
haven't
we haven't
found
found
it
the
yet.
person for the thing for you.
What about psychedelics? Are you feeling any of that, or is that a little bit out of your wheelhouse?
I am intrigued by a mushroom experience, like in a very safe place, preferably with a shaman or something. But I have not dipped into that pool yet. But I'm open.
Okay.
What about you?
I did shrooms a couple times in college.
Okay.
And I too am intrigued.
Yeah.
And my friend Chef Nikki is she's a connoisseur of psychedelics and cannabis. So we've talked about these things. And whenever I hear her talking about the medicinal benefits and her experience, it's like, it like draws me in where I'm like, can you just bring me over like a mushroom and I'll just like try a little bit? I just haven't.
I gotta hit her up. So is she growing her own? Like,
I
is
don't
she
really
doing
know.
that?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't know the deets of
Yeah,
that, but I know she knows where her stuff is
Yeah,
sourced and it's
okay,
all,
okay.
you know,
I might
it's all
have to-
legit.
Yeah.
You just need to know Chef
I just
Nikki
need
is,
to know
you need to
her.
follow her. 'Cause she's
We're
as
like
cool as shit.
orbiting each other, but never actually connected.
Yeah, that's what
So,
happens, right?
mhm.
You're a single mom
Yes.
of two,
Yes.
and you live downtown.
I live in Eastmore, so
Eastmore,
just
okay.
east of Bexley.
Oh, you live east of Bexley.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, just
so how
east.
does one socialize? Like, what do you do for fun? And what do you do in Bexley?
I don't do much in Bexley.
Have you hit the Blue Spot Yoga yet?
I have not been there.
You must go.
Okay.
Stacey McCool.
Okay.
Stacey McCool. She's been on the show.
Okay.
And her last
Done.
name suits her.
I
She's
mean,
cool.
yeah.
She's cool as the other side
I
of
love
the
you.
pillow.
Gotta be cool with that name.
She's amazing. And
Okay.
and again, she laughs at me because she's like, girl, you don't live that far. I'm like, I know I don't live that far, but I have this perceived
It feels
bubble.
far.
But I would go to her every single day.
Okay,
She's
done.
amazing.
Done.
Her
Yes.
spot-
Would you
okay.
go with me?
Ah,
Would you
yes,
get out of your bubble and do that?
absolutely,
Can
I
we do that
would.
together?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
I
let's
would.
do that.
So what else do you do there?
Ooh,
in that?
I like to. This is gonna sound so like ridiculous, but I truly like to be like to catch vibes. Like, I truly like to be in a vibey space. So we said we have the same aesthetic for our homes, like cozy, modern, and so a lot of times I'm at the house because I've already placed the vibe that I want. Or I'm just out with friends, just like at a bar, maybe on a rooftop, and just talking. I like to laugh. I like to have deep, meaningful conversation and connection where I can just be free and like say the wrong shit and say goofy shit and like politic, travel. But I don't really do too much.
Like, what are your go-to places in the city if you're going to go? Okay.
I don't know why Bud Dairy has a hold on me. I do know why. One thing, modern Southern table
Okay.
for their fried fish. Black women owned. It's consistent. Because, we have a lot of good restaurants. And I know you love Cameron Mitchell. We have a lot of good restaurants, but the consistency. And that's why you love Cameron Mitchell, because you know what you're going to get, right? And then the rooftop. I'm a sucker for a rooftop. So like they have a little game room. So like it meets all the things: food, good drinks, game room, rooftop. So whether it's me by myself working, I can be at the bar.
Have you been to Junto?
I have been to Junto, but
You're not feeling it.
you know what? It's a little pompous. It's a little bit like
Too much for
too
you?
much.
Too much for you. Like it. You like it more dialed down a little.
I like it more natural.
Yeah. See, I like it. I like Junto because
Okay,
I
tell
you
me
know
why.
why I liked it because, and I need to go back. I think I've been there maybe twice, but I would say it was like maybe an audacious, like what's the word? You say pompous. I would say.
And pompous is.
I would
the
say
word.
bold. No, I think you're saying pretentious.
That's the word I was looking for.
And though, I mean, we can maybe
Yes, that's the
same
word.
hood.
Yep.
But what I felt there, I felt like, because Columbus is trying to grow up, and we have made so many strides. And I've talked to Siraj in here on many, and if you don't know Siraj, you got to go back. And he's such a great guy, and he heads up RTRX, which is this great event that they put on in Columbus before Pelotonia. But anyway, Columbus is getting some shine, and we have got so much awesome happening here. And I feel like Junto was kind of like a stake in the ground of like what could be. And so when I walked in and felt like Chicago or New York vibes or something, I was like, that's right, Columbus, like you can do it. So maybe, and again, you can have different, like, so if you're used to something, you're like, oh, who are you trying to be? Who are you trying to be? Kind of thing. But I was like, giddy up, baby. You know?
We on the map.
So now next time you go to Junto, you're going to be like, okay.
You know what? I'll take that because sometimes it depends on why I was there, what my energy was. So I'm down to put on a new filter and go and try again. Because I was surprised I didn't like it, honestly.
I think maybe you were just going there, even if you were going there to like work or whatever, looking for one thing. And sometimes something you know, I feel this way with music, for example. So Coldplay is one of my favorites, and they just came out with their new album, and I like felt myself like listening and then like just going to the next. Like I don't like this. I don't, because my ear wasn't attuned. And so then like I took a walk yesterday. I'm like, let's take a step back. Let's listen, absorb, and allow sometimes things are an acquired taste. So I think Junto may be an acquired taste for you.
I also love that you were like, Keri, you love Coldplay.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Do not betray
you
Chris
love
Martin.
This album.
You do love this. You are a groupie.
Oh my gosh. That's how I felt about Cowboy Carter. I was like, you can do this. It's country, but we are a beehive.
Did you get behind it?
I do like it.
You like it now?
I'm open.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of got me a little bit into country.
You know, I guess for me, I just like when someone can take a shift like that and it's successful. Like I will always cheer somebody on, you know, because we're all kind of stuck in our own thing.
Yep.
So if you have the whatever that is, that zhuzh or that magic thing that you can like pivot and become something like that, I'm like, you go, girl. Like you go.
Literally. Yeah. Disrupting bias, right?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Yep.
Totally agree with you.
I also appreciate that.
You're part of the beehive.
Oh, I swarm.
Tupac.
Oh,
listen, don't talk.
Okay.
He's my boyfriend.
Period.
Period.
We can't be
story.
both our boyfriends.
Well, hold on. I'm going to get this out.
You have everyone that matters in there,
okay,
by
well,
the way.
listen, I'm going to get this back out because I don't think anyone really knows the depths.
Yeah.
The depths.
That's a man right
no,
there.
I have got more pictures of him in my house than I do my children.
Stop it right now. Stop it
Wait
right
till you
now.
Come. I have more pictures of Tupac in my home.
Oh, I love this.
Most people, not even just I'm not gonna pigeonhole UA. Most people in the world, when you walk in their house, most of the time they have all these photos of themselves and their family, and that's wonderful. I happen to have photos of titties.
Goodness. Oh, I love this.
You know, naked John Lennon.
Yes.
And a myriad photos of my boy Tupac.
Yes.
I mean, it's just how
you
I
like
roll.
him.
Like him. Like him.
Yes.
I love him.
Okay, Jada Pinkett Smith's gonna give you hell, girl.
Well, she can come on in because I got you on my side.
Period.
Hey,
you know I'm with you. You know I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so before we round this out, how can people get a hold of you? So how do we reach you? How do we mix it up with Varsey?
Yes, please. Okay, so you did an exceptional job of dropping my website, so varseylorelle.com. Also, same thing on all the things: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Instagram stories goes in though, so like you're gonna really get to know me if you check out the stories. It's professional, but it's personal. And if you are a leader or someone in your organization that really is trying to make a shift, you know that you need to leverage your people, gain some team effectiveness, gain some collaboration. What you're doing isn't working, and you need someone to inject some honesty and some vulnerability and some self-awareness into your culture, hit me up.
And maybe some empathy.
Oh, for sure. That's one of my strength finders, empathy. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
And
a blast.
It's only the beginning.
Yes, I'm so excited for us.
Thank you, Varsey. Me too.
Thank you.
Vibes. Yeah. And with that, if you're still out there following your girl, follow me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. And until next time, go follow Varsey, because I will say her Instagram is part of what drew me in. So go follow Varsey and keep moving, baby. Yeah, I remember looking at your quotes and stuff. Like I'm like, okay, no, she because you do those compilations of things.
Yes.
And I like them all. I was like, okay. I'm like, she's it. She's coming on the show.
It's me trying to fall asleep and like storm.